UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy starship has been designed.
Transporter Chief, beam our listeners aboard. Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek The Next Generation podcast on the United Federation of Podcast Network. I am your Chief Recreational Officer, Rhea Papagiorgio, along with our Counselor, Amy Nelson, and our Head of Scottish Trivia, Joe Keegan?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Let's go with that.
Cool.
Hi, Rhea. How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there, a little crazy. How you guys been?
Yeah, just try to get through the school week and get to Christmas holidays. So, 7 days left.
5 more days. Well, 2 full days and 3 half days left for me. So,
well, maybe in 5 months I'll quit my job and go to flight school. We'll see.
yeah.
Still in the works.
Make it so.
Okay. Well, let's check the communication array to see if we have any comments from our listeners.
Logs accessed.
We have Paul writing in to comment about our last Batleth battle, Disaster versus Descent. And he writes, another great episode. This was a tough one. I came in thinking Descent all the way, but listening to the recap of Disaster and the 3 separate storylines reminded me of how important that episode was. Ultimately, I agree with Amy Nelson and think the right decision was made. By the way, Kevin, is it possible you can post the current bracket so we can keep track of the results? Thanks. Well, Paul, what a great idea. I think we will look into that.
Yeah, why didn't we think of that sooner?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Paul, for your comment. Maybe we should mention the whole controversy, the Galaxy class debacle, as it's now going to be known in history, about the Roman numeral numbering of our Batleth battles.
Well, that's an internal matter.
I think we should mention it to listeners because it took much investigation. So listeners, this is Batleth Battle 19 officially. However, it turns out that we missed out Batleth Battle 7. There's no Batleth Battle number 7 in the Roman numeral thing. So, yeah, this really should be Batleth Battle 18. That one you just listen to.
You know, this is why we don't use Roman numerals. They are good for nothing.
True.
I love a good Roman numeral.
Well, that's why we're using them, but we missed 7, so something happened.
Something
Maybe we
messed up
just
somewhere.
we needed better math teachers in school, I guess. So this just underscores the importance of good quality math education.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
We also have a comment from our good friend Christos Genaris. That was a great discussion. The only point that I would make is that in Disaster, Ro wasn't necessarily wrong. It's all about the level of risk-taking that the person in command is comfortable with. There was no evidence to believe that anyone was alive in the drive section, so Troy's decision was a leap of faith that worked out in the end. And then Paul Wright Jr. Agrees with Christos and says, of course we're supposed to not like Ro in that moment because we as the audience know that the crew is alive. But she definitely had a point, even though it came off as callous. I think we're just supposed to not like Ro in that moment just because we're not supposed to like Ro.
Right.
She's annoying. She's an irritation. She upsets the equilibrium of the crew that we love, I think.
Agreed.
But thanks, guys, for your comments.
Mm-hmm.
This is the captain. Senior officers will report to my ready room immediately.
Well, listeners, today we have with us special guest Mark Rolston. You might know him from Season 7's episode Eye of the Beholder. You might also recognize him from 2 different episodes of Enterprise and also Star Trek Continues, and also some small little, movies he's done here and there, like Aliens, Shawshank Redemption, Lethal Weapon 2, Rush Hour, the first Olympics, Athens, 1896, which came out in 1984. And you might recognize his voice from a whole bunch of voice acting. So Mark, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, guys. It's fun. It's fun to be here before the holidays.
That's right. Fun to have you.
Yeah.
So now, Rhea, how did you get to know Mark, and why is he on the show? I mean, you message us and it's like, we're going to have an interview. I'm like, I'm so excited. And then I watch the episodes and I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome. So how did this happen?
Well, if you remember, about a month ago, Joe and I were at Destination Star Trek in London, and seated right next to, again, someone you might have heard of, Marina Sirtis. I don't know. She might be Greek. I don't know. Was this gentleman, and the poster behind him of that very, very creepy character we all remember from Eye of the Beholder. And of course, I walked up to this guy. I'm like, wow, you are such a creeper in that episode. And about an hour later, realized, hey, this is actually a really cool guy. So that's pretty much how we met.
Yeah.
Found out we had a ton of stuff in common.
Absolutely. I know. Just as Rhea was rolling out all of her life accomplishments, I was just like, oh my God, this is Wonder Woman. My God. So, and then I think we cemented our acquaintance by the fact that her father is in the wine trade, and I was in the wine trade in London when I was a fledgling actor. So I hope I get a chance to go to Nebraska because I want to try some of your Pop's wine.
Absolutely. Anytime. He's actually going to be here on Tuesday. So, yeah, let me know.
Is he bringing a travel case with special things?
He brings, I have so much wine in my house. Actually, we need to have, we should have like a Galaxy class party at Rhea's house, and it won't be BYOB because I have more wine than I could possibly drink. He always comes with like 2 cases of wine and a case of olive oil. And I can go through the olive oil by myself, but the wine, just me, it's so come visit Rhea in Nebraska.
So Mark, I also have been enjoying some wine and learning to expand. And so I'm interested, what are some of your favorite wines or regions? Well,
I'd have to say my number one favorite region is the Rhone. I collect Chateauneuf du Pape. So my favorite,
you and my dad will get along.
Yeah, my favorite Chateauneuf du Pape is Chateau Beaucastel. And I was really fortunate when I got into the wine trade. It was mere happenstance. I was in England. I had just come off a tour playing Richard II in the whole United States. And we went back to England, and I was out of work, and I was, doing that actor thing, like, oh God, I gotta make some money. So outside of this wonderful little Muse house we were in, there was this teeny little wine shop. I mean, really tiny, but it looked lovely. And it's London, so I walk in, and this very erudite gentleman was behind the counter drinking whiskey and had a massive boya. These French black Turkish tobaccos. It looks like a mini cigar, but a cigarette. And he's puffing away, and I said, "Hi, my name is Mark, and I just wanted to know if you need any help around your shop. I've been a chef. I want to learn something about wine." And he was like, "Oh no, dear boy, we are only as actors in this establishment. I'm an actor. I'm an actor." So totally busted him. And sure enough, they allowed me to start off just by humping cases around. But it turned out that the guy who owned the place is a famous master of wine, a man called Remington Harvard Norman, who writes about Burgundy and the Rhone. And one of the stipulations to be employed there was that I had to pass this certificate class at the Wine and Spirit Education Trust in London. And if you didn't pass it, you couldn't sell wine. So that was my intro to the wine trade. And yeah, I've been a winophile ever since. In fact, much to my wife's chagrin. I'm sure your pop is the same thing. It's like, I see something, it's like, I gotta just try that once. So I'll even order just a bottle, right? And she goes, "Did you order it?" Yeah, I had to.
There's just so much to try. That's the problem.
Yes. Yes.
That's the thing. Well, this is the amazing thing about wine, and it's actually partially due to climate change. They're growing wine in regions where you've never grown before. In fact, like, in the Okanagan Valley, which was normally all they made was ice wine, they couldn't grow anything else because it was so cold.
Right.
I don't think they're growing wine in Scotland yet, though, are they?
I'm sure people have tried. Do you know what? We're drinkers traditionally over here, so probably somebody has made wine out of something or other, I think. Surely.
Yeah. So, but generally because of my training, I like everything. Really. There's not much wine I don't like. So
what's your opinion on fruit wine?
Well, I mean, like summertime, some gooseberry wine can be fun with different types of food, but generally no.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's all fruit, obviously. It's all fruit, but like you mean like raspberry wine?
Yeah, and the blackberry,
I'll tell a really self-effacing tale here.
Okay.
As a 14-year-old, we used to go and hang outside a liquor store, and we, with our pennies and whatever, we catch an unsuspecting person and say, "Hey, dude, like, can you get us some Boone's Farm?" I'm dating myself too. You guys didn't know what Boone's Farm is. Boone's Farm was Boone's Farm apple wine that had these horrible commercials with these like hillbillies and Boone's Farm apple wine. And and so as kids, we drink this up at a ton of sugar, and you have an awful headache, and we go on the railroad tracks and get drunk. Hence, I became an actor.
Kids don't do Boone's Farm.
Yeah, but they actually they had apple, raspberry. I mean, it was disgusting. I think they have it like pear or apricot. I mean, it was just gross. But luckily, I finally learned out what proper wine should be.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was first introduced to fruit wine when a friend actually of the network, Ken Tripp, he has a house up at Lake Winnipesaukee. And so been there. And so up in New Hampshire, and it's like fruit wine. I've sort of heard not good things about it, but you're right, with the appropriate, time, place, weather, like on the lake in the summer in July, it was beautiful and wonderful. So I like it for its purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually tried some orange wine.
Oh,
that was made in like Slovakia or something, and it was actually dry and very interesting. Yeah, it was interesting. But I usually would go with fruit. I would go more toward the liqueur avenue. In fact, I actually make my own liquor, so I'm just getting ready. I'm gonna buy a whole shit ton of grapes, green grapes mainly, and it's great. You put them in the garage, you let them get stinky, rotten, and really like just moldy. It's all great. Then you put them in a big vat, add some sugar and water, let that sit for a little bit, let it bubble, and then bang it with a little bit. I'm going to use a dry champagne yeast, and I've got this little 8-gallon still. So out of 8 gallons, I get about 4 nice bottles. But yeah,
excellent.
So I'm going to make my own version of grappa, which I love.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Okay. Exciting.
Yeah.
And the invites are in the post, yeah.
Yes. I'm actually going to be in LA next weekend, so perfect.
Is Rhea chapping on random doors? Mark, do you live here? Or Mark, where are you? Where's my wine?
Yeah.
Sniff it out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've done some really good ones. I did a really nice corn rye whiskey, and I did a straight 100% rye, which is I still have bottles of. It's gorgeous, and you color the wine with like the oak. Or a buddy of mine, he found an old wine cask up in Santa Ynez, bought it for like $25 or something, and then we just tore it apart and we used bits of the old wine cask, which is oak as well. But oh my God, it's made our liquor, like certain jars, just this gorgeous ruby red color. I mean,
yeah,
it's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've done that. I've done a apple pear Calvados, and and then now I'm going to start to do this grappa.
Oh wow!
Because it's a great excuse to be outside. My new son-in-law is coming. I'm going to force him to help me, but it's great. We have breakfast and coffee and tea while we're doing it, and then we start tasting a little bit of liquor, and then I break out the cigars, and it's a whole day affair. It really is.
Oh,
but it's
wonderful.
fantastic.
Yeah, sounds wonderful. Yes.
I love wine, but I literally know nothing about it. So you go to the supermarket, and there's aisles upon aisles of wine, and usually, like, I'm really envious of people that have a knowledge of wine, like, oh, that was a good year for this wine and that was a bad year for another wine. And I look at like what label looks the nicest. So I'm kind of lucky in that I've got some really good Star Trek-y convention going friends that know like crazy amounts about wine.
Yeah.
And they'll look at a wine menu in a restaurant and say, yeah, that's nice, that's not, avoid that. Yeah, never really go wrong, but only when I'm with my convention going buddies. So
yeah. Well, unfortunately, I'm that type of person, and it can be really annoying. But I would say, the only way to get to know wine is to do just what you said. Oh, you see a bottle, looks good, grab it, try it. But you have to kind of catalog it in your brain to go, that wasn't so good, or that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I find if it's not good, you just keep drinking it until you get used to the taste. Yeah. And you're like, you get that hit from it, and then, oh yeah, it's fine. It's usually on a Friday night after work. So, no.
Okay, so when we have our Galaxy class party at Ria's house, we'll have my dad come. We'll go to the grocery store with my dad, and you'll not only will you get the lecture on what wines are good or bad, you'll get the lecture on how the winemaker, oh, this guy, he's a joker. No, do not buy this wine and then you'll get the story from 1978. But then you'll get the story about this guy who, and when you go to this winery, you drive down the road, you turn left with the man with the one leg and the dog, and then you get like the whole
history and context and backstory.
And by the time he's done, like, you just want to drink the wine.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
I have noticed that my travels have now sort of gone towards wine tasting, because now, there's so many wineries in different regions, like Hill Country, Texas. I'm a big fan of.
Oh, Pheasant Ridge.
It's just
Have
beautiful.
You tried Pheasant Ridge?
I don't know. Bingham Wineries is
Lubbock. It's from Lubbock, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, this wine. These guys have been making Cabernet Sauvignon. It's good.
Yeah. So I've noticed my travels are, but that's fun. And yeah, like you say, you just taste it and it's like, yep, I like it. And nope, I don't, and move on.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a lot like what you do in acting. It's like you employ a method that resonates with you, and if it works, it's great, and if it doesn't, just throw it away. It doesn't matter. You get so many actors or people that teach acting get all sort of myopic about it must be this process and Stanislavski and blah, 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 blah. But it's really whatever resonates. And you can think back to say the most classic example is Marilyn Monroe. She was an absolute intuitive actor, and when she did, was it The Prince and the Pauper with Olivier? I think it was. And Olivier was like strictly a technician, and he couldn't get along with her because she was just present and there, and she was gonna be in the moment, and he was much more planned. And, it's interesting, but yeah, in the end, it's like what works and what doesn't, or it tastes good or it doesn't.
Have you found that, is there basically kind of a technique that you have used throughout your career, or, different strokes for different types of work that you do?
Yeah.
No, I had a very, very specific training. I trained at the Drama Center in London, and just to name drop because it makes me sound good. As I was leaving the course, Colin Firth was coming into the course, and Tom Hardy and Michael Fassbender and people of that ilk all came out of the training that I did. But although my training was much more difficult because we started out with 80 people in the first year, and every semester there was a cut. They would start to weed people out. And by the time you came to the performance year, there were only 16 of us left.
Wow.
So, but when Hardy and Fassbender, when they went, the school went out of private hands and became supported by the Arts Council in Camden Town, and they said, "Oh no, you can't have cuts. Like whoever you accept in the first year, they pass through the entire course, which is kind of like a cheat, mainly because, I mean, the people that ran the course, they were brutal in ways that, like, let's say Pierce Brosnan went to Drama Center, but he only lasted a year. And basically they hauled him in and they said, listen, you're going to do extremely well, but there's nothing we can do for you. You should just go to Hollywood right away. You're a good-looking persona. You'll do extremely well, but he wasn't getting it, because my training was a amalgam of acting, method acting training out of New York. We had a woman called Doreen Cannon who was a protege of Uta Hagen. And then we had a gentleman, John Blatchley, who he had been the director of the English National Opera, and they taught us mask work and more or less the French Italian Commedia dell'arte. And then we had our most specific thing is something called movement psychology, which was the mixture of Laban notation, which is the notation that dancers have used throughout the years. Laban was a dancer, and he actually was a socialist as well, and he created this notation so that people in factories didn't do extraneous movements that could injure them. So what they would do is, like, they would map out according to a notation, like how someone would be like, your right hand to remove the thing from the conveyor belt, and you turn it. I mean, it was really kind of wild. But primarily he did it for dance choreography. And then the guy who taught me, Yat Malmgren, teamed up with this guy called Carpenter, who was actually a philosopher and Jungian psychologist. And they developed this whole psychology and method for actors to break down psychological archetypes and then ways in which you can employ the notation for not only the tonal qualities of your voice, but of your movement, and also a psychological understanding of the character, like who they were. And they broke it down, this 8 archetypes, and it is infinite. So a lot of people look at this and go, oh my God, but again, this was the one part of the course where I took what resonated and employed it my whole career. And there are other parts where I just went, it's too much. It's too much. Mm-hmm. But, we were taught how to break down scripts accordingly. You even color code lines. So it's like, if you're being extremely authoritarian and ruthless and cold, you highlight shit in blue, right? Or if you were extremely emotional and, losing it a bit, you'd be in bright, burgundy. But when I did a movie called Weeds with Nick Nolte, he was the only actor I saw who ever had something resembling what we did. Like when we were doing Weeds, he had a binder this thick of not only articles that were supporting the times in which our movie was taking place, but he mapped out the arc of his character throughout the script. It was incredible to see. And I remember sharing with Nick, I was like, wow, I've done a similar type of training. And Nick had just made it up himself. So, wow. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's fascinating. And for those of us who, know little to nothing about the craft of acting, it's amazing what all goes into it and the depths of knowledge and training.
Yeah, in fact, Anthony Hopkins was trained by Yat Malmgren at a time when Yat's whole journey and process of doing this thing was very, very new to him. But Yat also worked with Olivier when Olivier was doing Othello. Mm-hmm. And so Yat became very, very famous just because it was sort of a new exotic approach. But, I imagine there's now probably, I don't know, a couple thousand people in the world who've actually gone through the training, mm-hmm. but not the way I did. Like when I was there, you didn't get the full training unless you went through all 3 years. So anybody got cut, you were kind of introduced to it, which is good because you could take the fundamentals. But when you finally got to the performance year, what you had to do was you had to do write yourself 6 characters of one of the 8 archetypes and you had to perform the character. So that's when it became very, very finite and deep. Every single utterance, whatever comes out of your mouth, is colored by the psychology.
Very, very deep, and like getting to know human nature because you're studying it, because you are trying to replicate it and duplicate. Yeah.
For example, like one of the archetypes is stability. Automatically, those are generals. Those are sometimes politicians. They're a king. They always have to have that sort of stable bearing. So the actual, like the weight scale of light and strong, you would have, all the gradients in between, but in a stable person, it'd be much stronger weight. You wouldn't have light. Light. Somebody could be stable and be like this, light, but it just tells you what the character is, so the light and the loafers. That's the sort of depth of it. But a lot of people say to you, if you ever want to teach, and it's one of these things like I really can't teach because someone would have to commit to a couple years of because it's deep work. I mean, a lot of other method acting techniques. It's all about sense memory. And you can take yourself to a memory that you had and bring up the emotions that way. But this course had that component, but this specialty item was really a way to get really finite. So you weren't just saying, I was working yesterday and this young actor, he was joking, but he said to the director, he's like, so do you want me to be glad in this scene or mad or bad? And, and we were all laughing. We knew he was joking, but some actors, that's kind of the sum total of it. Oh yeah, I'm mad in this scene.
Yeah.
But that would never, but it never flies because if you're not they always say, if you're not thinking something when you're on screen, it shows. It shows. So that's the real challenge to not only, let's say, with stage acting, because there's no place to hide in the stage. You're live. Film is interesting because you mess up, it's okay, we'll do another one, right? But obviously the goal is that you're finally going to get a complete take that is usable and they can edit, right? So I'm really grateful. In fact, when I auditioned for Shawshank Redemption, Nicky Marvin, who was the producer on it, who's British, I finished my audition, and Frank Darabont, the director, writer, was just like, wow, that's great. It's great. And then she turned to me and said, you trained in England, didn't you? I was gobsmacked. I was like, what? How do you know that? He goes, no, I can tell. So I kind of think what I got there at the Drama Center was a foundation for me having as long a career as I've had. And I just turned 65 on Tuesday. And so actually I'm of retirement age, but I ain't retiring.
Yeah. No, I can definitely hear your passion and love of acting. And in the business, you could go down so many different paths. Like at your schooling, you had to write different characters. Have you looked into not acting? I mean, there's so many writing, directing, but I can definitely tell you love acting.
Yeah. And to answer the question, I do write. I wrote a musical about Harold.
Nice.
And, the guy who wrote the music, The Wizard of Oz. But I do write. I've had a couple of close calls with my screenwriting. We were weeks away from getting $4 million to make a movie, and then the economy collapsed in 2006. And I was like, oh God. It was right there. It was right there. We were literally, lawyers had already been drawing up paperwork. The guy, the investor, had already invested $150 in lawyers. And then the economy took a shit, and he just said, I can't do this. So
yeah, wow.
Tough business. Tough business.
Yeah, yeah.
But I love writing. I don't really. I mean, I know I could direct, but there's in order to do anything scale, studios they're only giving up money to people who've done it before. I mean,
Right.
I know actor buddies of mine have actually like tracked a director on some episodes, and if you're a big enough star, you can say, oh, by the way, I want to do 2 episodes this year, and of course they're the stars, so they let them. Yeah, so it's interesting. My son is a producer, and he's whittled down. He was a writer. He directed in one of his first films, as well as producing it and writing it. But he decided, you know what? He really doesn't have a whole lot more to write about. He doesn't think he's really experienced enough to be a director, because the director, that's was certainly in the old days, and I've worked with a few, and like the auteur, the person who controls the whole shebang. It's only a handful of guys that can claim to do that in today's world. But I do love writing. But yeah, my passion is acting, and however you like it, it doesn't matter to me. Like I've segued into doing a lot of the video games, because that's like theater in the round. Like you're in this massive volume with all these cameras, and there's no physical objects except you relate to like these boxes as if it was a couch. Or yesterday it was funny, we were doing this thing where a group of us are landing in a helicopter. Well, you don't actually do in the motion capture the landing of it, but there we were when they go, and the thing is landed. Then here we come off of this wooden platform that's about 18 inches high, and we're all hopping out like and keeping our heads down like we're getting out of a helicopter, and it's great fun. It's like that's like doing theater in the round, because these cameras are everywhere. You can't hide. So yeah, I'm grateful. It's just I love voice work. In fact, I've been doing a lot during COVID. I've been dubbing films for Netflix that they buy for pennies in Europe.
Oh, cool.
And then I voice them into American English. And that has kept me alive and ticking throughout the whole pandemic. I had to do build a little booth here in my office. And if I hadn't, I'd have been sitting around. Well, not really. I never do that anymore.
Who does that?
Exactly.
I can't.
No, I don't think you could. Well, that's so cool. And so when you were in London, you finished your training. I'm assuming you did, live theater there. But what brought you to LA? Had you been doing any TV or film, or did you come to LA for that purpose?
No. I kind of had in the back of my mind. Well, I know you mentioned the first Olympics. I think that was my second job or third job ever. Oddly enough, it was directed by a man who is now married to my first wife. It wasn't like that, but it's just they met long after we had divorced. But
small world.
It is. It's kind of weird. It's like so I first met him. He's like, "I remember you," and I was like, "Yeah, I was in the first Olympics." But so basically, like getting to Los Angeles, I always had in the back of my mind that, in fact, I would have to be going to LA on the heels of a hit movie. And I didn't even realize that Aliens was going to be that vehicle. I knew it was a big movie, but I didn't know. See, this is the funny thing about me. It's like, I had no idea about Terminator. I hadn't watched it yet. I'd seen Alien, but didn't really know who Jim Cameron was. And then it was only because of Bill Paxton, God bless him, that he bugged the shit out of me for about a year. Literally, wow. He'd call once a week. "Hey, Mark, you got to come in, dude. This is going to be awesome, man. Mark, don't miss it." I was like, "Billy, yeah," but my son was really little, and I was like, "I don't know, I'm working here, and I don't know if I will." And then he bugged me to the point where I was like, "All right, I bought the ticket. I'm coming." And I came to LA, and I never left. I was starring in a movie in 5 days.
Wow.
Me
And
Lance
that just
Henriksen.
doesn't happen to everyone. That's
No.
amazing.
No, it's great. Yeah, Lance Henriksen and I in a movie called Survival Quest. That Don Coscarelli, he's the creator of the Phantasm series. And this was like a little like sort of mountaineering survival movie. But the cast was amazing. Dermot Mulroney, Catherine Keener, myself, Lance. It's crazy.
So you came for Aliens. You stuck around. Shawshank Redemption. So you filmed that probably right before you were on TNG, right? If I got the timeline right.
Yeah.
I think that came out in '94, and Eye of the Beholder aired in '94. Basically, how did you end up on Star Trek?
And had you seen any Star Trek? Were you, I mean, had
It
you
was on
known
your-
of Star Trek? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was really aware of Star Trek because the guys I grew up with, like, they would race home from school just to watch it, right? And I'd kind of tag along. I'd be honest, like, I was never really, like, a crazy Trekkie. I thought
Like
it was
us.
fun. Yeah. Okay, I know, but I love it. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I get it. But I auditioned for Star Trek like 17 times.
Wow.
Wow.
And to the point where I would say to my agent, it's like, why are you sending me back in here? They obviously have no interest in me for the show. You know, this is like I'm spinning my wheels here. Why aren't you getting me a movie? It's like, but yeah, the 17th time I called my agent and said, I'm not going in. This is stupid. It's like I was just in there a month ago.
Yeah.
And she said, listen, just go in. They're obviously interested in you. They keep having you back. I said, yeah, but it's 17 times. My God. Finally, the 17th time was magic, and I got it. And who knew that I'd have this kind of a very strange, wasn't that like a strange plot for Star Trek?
Yes, it was. It was.
Very weird, you know, and the whole concept that I was entombed in the walls of the Enterprise, like that's some creepy shit. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
they were doing creepy shit in space.
They were.
So yeah, so that's really Star Trek, and
But like hearing you describe like how you act and thinking of those scenes that you were, it's like I can tell you were thinking something even though you weren't speaking. Like I love hearing your acting and how you got into it and how it comes across, because I can see it right there. It's so in depth. And I really liked your episode in the Enterprise where you were stealing the prison thing. And I'm like, man, it's like so different, but yet similar in how you're portraying, like, yeah, this stoic, I'm going to do it for this reason. And it just comes across as that strength.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Well, that's like a stable character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I always knew early on, it's like, I'm not a Brad Pitt, you know, I'm not Tom Cruise. I'm a character actor. That's what I do. And I love creating characters. I love, part of the training that we got was to transform. That was the challenge. You transform. Can you really immerse yourself to the point where people don't even recognize you, or that they recognize you, but your performance is so overwhelmingly real that they forget about you. So that's always been the challenge for me. And I think I've been relatively successful. It's like, you know, people say, you know, wow, you've done so many different things. It's like, you can't really put a peg in it. And that's maybe part of my problem in Hollywood, that people could never really peg me for one thing. You know, it's always more fun to be the character anyway.
Yeah.
And especially if you're the baddie. I mean, that's just the ball. Only downside is you never get to kiss the girls.
Well, it's Walter Pierce there in Eye of the Beholder. You know, as I watched it, I guess more carefully, focusing specifically on your character. For one thing, you were never really there, which that just I think was pretty cool. But just the depth and all the subtleties and all the, in your first conversations with Troy, someone who can normally is an empath and can normally sense people's feelings and emotions. And it was just evident that you couldn't be read. And it was evident that although you were saying all the right things, you were hiding something. There was just so much depth in there that really, again, to the untrained eye like me, it's just fascinating how you could bring that across in, with just kind of the limited lines and limited opportunities that you had.
Yeah. Well, I was really just transfixed by Marina. She's hot.
She those Greek women.
No, I was speechless.
So now coming in, and we've talked and heard stories, obviously we go to conventions and stuff and heard stories like the TNG cast was all fun and games on set, and you're coming in season 7. So they've had 7 years together. Like, how was that going in? Did you feel like the newbie, the sort of the outcast, I'm just here for this one episode and then I'm gone? Or like, how was it on set? And I've noticed you've done that with other series that have been on, NCIS and stuff like that. So talk to us about that.
Mark, can I add to Amy's question? We've interviewed a number of TNG guest actors in the past, like Scott McDonald and Clyde Kazatsu, Jennifer Gatti, Amanda McBroom. And the one thing they always say was that the main cast, the main actors, that main group, were really open and warm and friendly. When you went on for your little stint and then you would go away, but there was a really nice atmosphere on the TNG set.
Absolutely. And I mean, Marina was a love. It's so nice to see her at the recent event because she spoke about how she was doing the show that she had really dumbed down her Cockney just because Hollywood.
Yeah, the female.
And then to see her just recently, I haven't told her. I said it's so refreshing to see you just really be yourself. And she's hysterical. She is hysterical.
She is nuts. Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
I love her. But they were tremendously warm, and you're kind of overwhelmed when you go onto the sets. I mean, they're iconic, and just the costuming and everything else about it was just like so precise. And but I'll tell you a funny anecdote. It's like you see how the sets were put together. And, because they had those futuristic weird shapes, of like Enterprise and stuff. And the doors, they always put in that sound effect. It was like,
yes,
right. Those were like manually opened and shut. So you, as the actor, you kind of have to time your entry. And I once ran into the door.
I love that.
I was like, oh, yeah, klutz me, and I think Marina made some crack about it. But,
that's something I would do, actually.
But yeah, they were tremendously warm and friendly, and I really had it was my only real memories of working with Marina. That obviously was my closest contact.
So that set that you were on, I mean, I don't know if was it a new set? Because I don't remember seeing that. Joe Rhea, do you remember seeing that
the warp
special?
Core and all that, the engineering.
Single use set, I think it was specially designed for that episode, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, because I'd never seen it before, and it was really cool to have the upstairs and, walking up and down. And
well, yeah.
Mark, we'll have to consult our TNG technical manuals later. We will let you know.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there wasn't a second story. I'm sure there were stairs that went up, and then there was another set where they finished off coming up. Yeah, but I wouldn't have known because, like I said, I just did the one episode, and it amazes me and kind of scares me a little bit that you guys notice all these details.
They noticed for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you talked about, of course, we met at a con and you were sitting next to Marina. Star Trek conventions. How did you first get involved?
Yeah, but that was my first Star Trek convention ever.
Oh,
for some reason, Creation, the company that puts together, the Star Trek and even the Supernatural. Like I created a role for Supernatural, and they just won't have me on their show. And I never really got that one. So that was my first Star Trek. And I hear somebody has bought out the licensing to do further events. So my agent can get me to Las Vegas. And the Las Vegas show is huge, I hear, right, Amy?
It is. It was the largest, but the next one, yeah, as you said, there's going to be a one in Chicago in April, and that's the official Star Trek one. So hopefully, but yeah, I completely understand. We have, as Joe mentioned, like interviewed, and then I'll send an email specifically to Creation saying, this person's never been invited. Let's get them on this list. And, oh yeah, we'll look into it. And then nothing. I've heard not so many great things about Creation. So I'm really not surprised to have.
Something weird. I really don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, why wouldn't they extend the invitation? Why?
Well, I think perhaps it's because like they think, oh, he's only done one episode. Well, I was really shocked to learn that I'm in the Star Trek Encyclopedia for that one role. My picture and everything. It's like, I mean, I was blown away. I was like, wow. But it was a really cool, memorable episode.
It was, and I loved your one in Enterprise too.
Yeah.
I mean,
that they thought it was a one-off, and they'd rather have, people that have done recurring roles and the regular cast. I don't know. And
I'm sure there's a lot of politicking that goes on too behind the scenes, that if you're not actively trying to push your way into the cons, that.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping now they've changed hands.
So the third episode of Star Trek that you're in is also another Enterprise, and you're on screen for maybe a minute, but you are in full Klingon garb. Like, how was that? And obviously you wanted to be a Klingon, otherwise you wouldn't have taken the job to have all that time. And how much was that for, 2 minutes of fame as a captain speaking Klingon?
Yeah. No, it was totally cool. The Westmore brothers, who were a famous special effects and makeup family.
Yes.
It was like the second or third in line did that show. So you went into their art department at Paramount, and they did a full plaster cast of me. And it was cool when you went in there, you could see all the different busts of, people go, oh, it was really, and they're all up on a row, up on the top.
Yes.
It's cool. Really cool. And then of course, then they create all the latex pieces off of that bust. So it fits perfectly to your face. And then but the actual makeup was a good 4 hours.
Wow. Because
there was a hair piece, and yeah, it was amazing. But yeah, I never thought of it that being a Klingon is really quite an honor. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't get a photo of that character out of Creation forever. They just like kept like go away. And it wasn't until a fan of mine said, I've been desperate to get this photo. And so I signed one, and then the person said, and here, you obviously don't have one, so that's for you as a present. I was like, thank you.
Oh,
awesome.
Thank you. In fact, just the last show I did, in Germany, just last week, some of the guys, the promoters who are providing all the photographs, these guys had a bunch of photos from like Departed that I've never been able to get a hold of. So it's great. I can fill my table with even more photos.
Yes.
Of things I've done, which is part of the game, right? When you're doing events.
And you made a great Klingon.
I thought it was cool look.
Yeah. You had the right bone structure and, a stable character, I'm sure. But
yeah. With Captain Mogg seemed a little bit angry.
As Klingons do.
Yeah. But I used to have hair like that when I was 18. I had a mask. No, I really did. It was all the way down my back. In fact, I went to college before I went to Drama Center and got cast as Bo Decker in the William Inge's Bus Stop. So he's a cowboy. And I'm doing the whole rehearsal with this big-ass ponytail, right? And finally the director said, you're going to have to cut that. And at first I thought, because I was just doing the courses like, Theater 101, I'll get an A. Because I was studying philosophy. And so he's like, yeah, you can't have that on. And I was like, oh, you're right. So I went to this, it was a charity foundation there in upstate Maryland. And they cut it off and used it for a wig. And the lady who cut it, she was like, you were going to make some woman so happy.
Yes.
Because we never get blonde, curly hair.
Yeah.
And, especially being blonde and curls.
And unprocessed. Yeah, I worked my family has wig and toupee stores. And so, I've...
Oh, okay.
Very familiar. So, yes, you did make someone very, very happy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And funnily enough, because of my girls, they're both blondes, but the middle one is like blonde and wavy, but my youngest is Goldilocks.
No.
Wow.
Goldilocks. Of course, curls want wavy and wavy want curls. So their whole time growing up, it was always a fight about, I want curls. Mom, why can't you curl my hair? And Isabel was like, Mom, iron it out. I'm sick of these curls.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember she would cry like when after I gave her a bath and I'd like comb out her curls and she would cry.
Oh dear. Mark, about your youngest daughter, I watched an interview you gave maybe about 10 years ago now about your character on Supernatural, and I think your youngest daughter had said that she didn't like it, and she didn't like Daddy at that point because he was really creepy. I'm sorry, I think that's the 4th time we've used the word creepy during this interview.
Yeah, right.
And to describe you, we don't. I think it was a quote from your daughter. So has she got used to that character? Does she no longer think of you as creepy?
No. I think he still thinks I can be creepy. I mean,
okay.
It was funny because we all were, going to watch the first episode, and I really loved doing this character because they just let me go free, and it's a crazy voice, it's very creepy. And anyway, she kept inching down the couch. We had this massive couch. She just kept going further and further away. I was like, what the hell is the matter with you? What do you come over here? We're going to watch together. She's like, no, Dad, no. Why are you talking like that? And you're just weird and it's creepy. And I automatically knew I'd done a great job.
Yeah.
But no, my kids, they know I do weird shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of funny because, Joe and Amy, especially Joe, and everyone else I know makes fun of me because I don't watch movies, I don't watch TV. So if it's out there, I haven't seen it. And but it occurred to me, I actually have seen Aliens, and it was in high school or something, and we were at a friend's house, and I don't know how long into the movie, 5-8 minutes maybe, I had the pillow over my head. So everyone's watching this movie, and I'm just lying on the couch with the pillow over my head. So I can sympathize a little bit with your daughter.
No, I get that. In school, we do a Christmas pantomime every year. And I always do full panto dame, so full makeup, wig, big dress, giant heels. Can't walk, but the kids love it, and it's good fun. I invited my niece and nephew one year, and they come along, and my wee, kind of 3-year-old niece, my sister hands her to me, and she starts crying because she doesn't recognise Uncle Joseph. So, yeah.
Well, I had a similar thing when I did this character called Boone. Was it called Angel? The show Angel.
Mm.
And
the Buffy.
Buffy, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a spin-off too.
Yeah.
And I had another really intense makeup, but the character was almost purple. And he was like a 2,000-year-old guy. He really looked like that. And my wife and daughter, the baby, came to the set. And of course, I go, here's me looking like, I'm like, hi, honey.
No.
Hi, honey. And she just looked at me and was like, ah! My wife had to whisk her away from the set, because she just wouldn't stop. And then she's like, no, it's Daddy. And she's like, no, not my daddy, not my daddy. It's like,
should be traumatized for life, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that episode, paid for the counseling that she'll have the rest of her life. But, oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But, all those prosthetic makeups and things. It's like, even the best of actors have to do it. I mean, I was watching Charlize Theron when she did the movie Bombshell. Is that right? Was it Bombshell? Or did she do the one of the newscast? Megan Kelly. You guys? Well,
I don't know. I haven't.
Rhea, you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
You guys haven't seen? Okay.
I've seen Bombshell, yeah.
She looked just like Megan Kelly. And there was this whole piece of the makeup artist who completely transformed her to look exactly like her just by knowing like which pieces they could put on to accentuate, because she was amazing in that movie. Oh, wow! But it's like like Gary Oldman, and Gary and I came up together at the same time in England. We did theater together in England. When Gary did Churchill. Rita, don't worry, just don't worry.
No, yeah, I can attest
he was
to
brilliant,
that.
Right? He was brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, yeah, all that makeup work, it's a great thing. Yeah. And then if you're lucky enough to have a mug like mine, then quite often you don't need makeup because you're ugly enough. Yeah.
I've seen uglier. Come on. Oh no, I pulled up a picture of your character in Angel. Oh my goodness! Like, I need counseling now. That's
yeah, boo.
Yeah. That's I can see why your daughter was less than thrilled.
Totally freaked out.
Yeah, kind of a mean trick for your wife to play, but
yeah.
She wasn't aware. My wife just thought she was coming to set. Like I hadn't really shown her pictures or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
She didn't do that again.
No.
Surprise.
Yeah.
So, Mark, I suppose you have done like 1,000,001 interviews throughout your career, and you'll get asked the same questions again. It'll be about Star Trek or Shawshank or aliens or supernatural. But are there any questions that you would love to be asked that people just don't ask? Or is there anything you want to talk about? Because we want to hear it.
No. I mean, I thought to, just talk about, and not to be morose at all, but just the way the industry's changed. So it's astounding to me, but, they're making fewer and fewer films. And financing for films these days is so hard.
Do you think that's because the films have like so much, or the production, they have such high expectations that it has to be a blockbuster, otherwise it's not worthy to create?
Well, it's kind of like that. The big studios have decided that they have to have at the top of their production list a couple of those blockbuster things, and they will throw a shit ton of money at it, and they're going to market it, and they're not all successes, but they're doing dollars. And this is what I've witnessed since being in Hollywood. It's just how corporate has taken over the film industry. And it does squash real creativity, unless you happen to be like a Jim Cameron or Martin Scorsese or a Chris Nolan, or somebody that can really just like pitch what they want and call all the shots. But the bigger shift is it just in people's viewing habits, what they finally figured out that people really want to see. And it's kind of a shame because, look, the film business, like if you were a real hardened investor, right, you would automatically say, this is not a good investment. There's no guarantee of any return. There's no guarantee of anything. So that's why it's so hard to find. Gems still happen, like little movies that perform big, but it really is like the corporate takeover that has just ruined it. And I feel lucky that I participated in Hollywood when, we did just pre-COVID in the summer, we went to Mansfield, Ohio, where we filmed Shawshank, and Ben Mankiewicz of TMC was the moderator, and we had almost the whole cast except for Morgan and Tim. Yeah, it was amazing. And one of the questions were this very line, like, about how they make films. And Frank Darabont flat out said, he said, you know what, if were pitching this movie today, it would never get made.
Wow.
Never get made.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing. It's a pure serendipity. I mean, a lot of films, it's such a colossal undertaking. But it saddens me, really. But when you have to recognize the fact that, say, video games, that industry dwarfs the film industry by almost 1,000 times.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh
my gosh.
Pure money-making power. Absolutely. These games, like, when I started doing the games, buddies of mine were like, wow, man, you all right? You're needing the money that bad? And I said, look, guys, I got kids, and quite frankly, don't feel sorry for me. I'm getting paid really well. And back then, they weren't paying residuals on the game, right? But then finally, just 3 years ago, my union finally got us residuals on the game. So imagine, it takes about $200 million to produce a game. And that's over the course of 5 years. But the very day it's released, these titles make over $1 billion. $1 billion.
Oh my gosh.
In one day. Because they're sold worldwide. Now, the sad part of it is now you know and understand what people, usually men between the ages of like 14 and 42, this is what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're the bane of Amy and my existence.
How so?
Because computer games and teenage boys, they'll stay up to the middle of the night, and then they'll be late for school
and not doing their homework.
Yeah, you're trying to teach maths or physics to teenage boys that are half asleep because they were on Fortnite or Call of Duty or whatever the new game is. So, yeah, it's a huge business.
Well, Mark,
and this is why Rhea's just going to stay single.
Do you see the gaming industry getting to where the movies are, where if it's not a blockbuster, if it's not Fortnite, that they're...
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm working on a huge Marvel franchise. I'm in the franchise, which I'm happy to say. So, yeah, I just found out that, I'm doing the current installment, but I'm going to be in the next one, too. And it's like, okay, I sort of calculate. So if I'm 75 and I'm still walking and talking, I'm in the money. Cool. Just, but yeah, it's and also flip side of that is that the artistry in games, it's leaps and bounds. The cinematics are phenomenal. Like some of them, they look better than a movie. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's really crazy. But yeah, that's all technology racing. And my dad kind of told me that would happen anyway. Like I mentioned, he was a programmer for IBM. And when I told him when I was 18 that I wanted to be an actor, my dad was very stoic. And anyway, but he was like, technology racing ahead. Most people won't be smart enough to get up off their couch. They'll all be watching the boob or playing games. And they might as well be watching you.
Yep.
that was my father's rousing encouragement for being an actor. Thank you, Dad. No, my dad was great, but yeah, he was very, very supportive of me and very proud. My dad just passed 6 weeks ago, so he was a cool dad because he never like for someone who was a former military officer, mathematical whiz, and who by serendipity, got into IBM at the jump of the computer age. And he knew what was going to happen with computers. I mean, it's astounding. Like, we were kids. He had to do work on the weekends, but he'd go and take us to his office or the mainframe. And, a mainframe computer was the entire floor of the building. And I remember being 6 years old, my dad would say, now you see, all of that is one computer. And of course, I was the dummy in the family. I was like, wow, it's big, Dad. And he said, yeah, but in your lifetime, he pulled out a pack of cigarettes. He said, all this is going to be in here. And that really confused me. Because again, like I was the dummy of the family. I was like, how do they do that? But it's the notion of miniaturization.
Yeah.
And there's a great documentary called 100 Years of IBM. Watch it. It's the famous documentarian Errol Morris. It's absolutely riveting. Because they actually show during the course of the documentary, like they interview the astronauts and the people who built the first Apollo capsule. And, the computer that was in the Apollo was a lesser computer system than our iPhone. Our iPhones are more powerful than what sent them to the moon.
Yeah.
And
by far, yeah.
Oh, and this man who was the engineer, it was a man, he was like a real stable, stout looking gentleman like this. He was just recalling how they were so frightened that they were actually going to send the guy up, a live human being up on a candlestick, right?
Yeah.
And that they weren't sure that it would work. They really weren't sure. And as he's telling this, very stable, this tear rolls out of his eye. That was the deepest thing.
Oh.
Wow.
And then the ending of this documentary is extraordinary because Errol Morris says to a gentleman who actually been one of my dad's bosses, and he said, so if you had to encapsulate the advent of computers and this technology in one sentence, what would you say? And he said this, he said, the world just got smaller. And that's it. In a nutshell, this technology, we can't stop it.
Yeah.
It races ahead a million times a year, and it has its absolute brilliant applications and its not so good applications.
Yeah,
that's life.
Yeah.
But I just think the same thing is true with the film industry. I've seen it shift, and it makes me sad because I think that people are, if all they're doing is this, they're missing out on sort of wealth of understanding and also appreciation for like art. I mean, the great films are pieces of art. And I don't know what the remedy is. I really don't. It's strange. But TV is providing, a whole load of great content for people to watch. In fact, there's so much content. It's like, what do you watch?
Yeah, that's the big dilemma of living in the 21st century. There's so much to watch, and there's nothing to watch.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we kind of rely on friends to say, you see, and so you still have that sort of because this is the deal. Theater, films, they're all communal events. Originally theater was created to instruct society and school them on how people are supposed to be with each other. And then in Roman times, when they did a play, the whole village went. Now that was a perfect opportunity for thieves to rifle everyone's homes, but everyone attended. If you weren't attending, you were straight, and that was its purpose. And the same thing with Shakespeare, the purpose. Holding the mirror of the world up to everyone, and it's our opportunity to look at that and learn more about ourselves. Well, if all we're doing is this, shooting each other on a screen, well, maybe that accounts for why we've had 674 mass shootings in America. Mass shooting being 4 people or more being shot.
Yeah,
not deaths necessarily, but shot. It's friggin' insane.
It is.
But you halfway think these games, some of them, not the ones I'm in, of course.
Of course.
But the games where people are just shooting each other relentlessly, and it's got to inform something.
It has to normalize it in some way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, totally does.
Yeah,
totally does. And I'm grateful I'm making a living off it. But I have to say, there were some games that I've done that were strictly like shooter games.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to my agent, we had a long talk about it. I said, I'm really pumped, because it's like just the basis of this game is how many kills you get.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can actually say the same thing about like aliens. I mean, we were popping off aliens like they were.
Yeah.
I don't know, but so that's kind of like what I wanted to talk about out there, not to bring the tone of your podcast down. And
No, not at all.
The wonders of editing.
Yeah.
Save your interview with me.
Well, if it's any consolation, I think what the Star Trek community is doing. So right now I don't even know how many series in production right now. It's insane. And they're on TV, they're streaming, they're gorgeous, they're well produced. But, I think what I love the most about it is all these Star Trek communities that have popped up, like us with Galaxy Class. We have our listeners, people that we've never met, and then we'll meet up at a convention for the first time. Like Paul Wright, we met in Las Vegas. Hi, and Nadim met at DST, and so as things are becoming more isolated, especially with the pandemic, and people are I guess, forced to resort to doing everything remotely or electronically, at least these communities have developed. And people are connecting in the ways that we can nowadays, and around a common, I guess, the positive aspects that Star Trek brings into the world. So, there's hope, I guess.
Well, no, for sure. And I think that's a piece of how art, like Star Trek is art, how it brings people together, like interests and joy, and there's a lot of fun. I mean, I know you all were having fun when I saw you in London. I know you all were having fun. In fact, you were in a skirt, weren't you, Joe?
Oh yeah, I was in my scan. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Now, the way I roll at conventions. Yeah.
Is that your Star Wars? Was that a Star Wars thing?
No, it was Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry
still had beard, except you were in these lovely little pink tutu skirts. Yeah. That was very impressive. Yeah. Very brave, because it was getting a little bit cold.
It's built-in air conditioning. It's Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you get the idea.
And listen, in Germany, though, there was a guy who kind of blew you guys out of the water.
Oh.
He had he had Star Trek, the Star Wars trooper helmet on, and then he had a really skinny dude with this amazing six-pack, and he had this little halter top with this little pleated skirt, high white socks, and little white shoes, and it was like, wow.
Stormtrooper cheerleader.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Really something.
Cool.
But yeah, but the communal thing, that's what it's all about,
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of nice being interviewed like this, because I've got a whole bunch of different families. I've got the people that love aliens, the people that love Shawshank. Well, almost everybody loves Shawshank, except for those who haven't seen it.
Yes, Rhea.
Stop now.
Yeah, Rhea.
Have you not
put it on my list?
Have you not on her list again? Oh my God!
Yeah,
this must be the biggest list in history. Rhea, Shawshank is the highest rated movie on IMDb. It's literally the most popular movie in the history of movie making.
Oh,
listen, if you want to be my friend, you better watch that movie.
Bam, mic drop. There you go.
Telling you.
Ultimatums.
Telling you, Miss Papa, where's you?
Okay, I will go to the library and check it out.
Yeah, go to Blockbuster. Yeah.
I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed.
You won't.
In fact, I'll bet you $100 that you text me immediately upon watching and go, why hadn't I watched this sooner? But
$100 or a bottle of grappa or rye or whatever.
It just got interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we're not editing that out.
The gauntlet is thrown. There you go.
Boom. Okay. Alrighty.
Okay. And I better get busy making that grappa.
Yeah.
That's
Mark,
right.
talking about gauntlets. Yeah. I know the interview maybe went a little bit dark, but are you ready for possibly the hardest part of the interview? that you maybe have ever had?
You're doing a quiz show?
Well, yeah. Well, because, I'm from Scotland, and
so bad.
you
just
lived
any quiz show.
Yeah, you lived in London for a while, and I think an interview that I saw, does your son still live in England?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, have you been to Scotland? Ever?
My favorite. Are you kidding me? I performed at the Edinburgh Festival. Edinburgh is my favorite city in the world. I've traveled the Highlands. I love Glasgow. In fact, my friend Jeanette and I were recounting how last time we did Edinburgh and then Glasgow, and went to this amazing whiskey bar in Glasgow, which is, oh God, it was just the best time. Oh, and we drank a load of whiskey.
Nice.
But no, I am, like, when people say to me, like, what is your favorite city? It's Edinburgh. I've had magical moments in Edinburgh.
Wow.
I'm from Glasgow, though, so.
Well, I must say, but Glasgow, like, last time I visited, I was really impressed at how, the city's super vibrant. It's like the hot place to be. Really.
Yeah, it used to have a really bad reputation for gangs and knife crime way back in like 60s and 70s, but it's become really cosmopolitan over the last couple of decades. I think 2021 it was voted the friendliest city in the world by the Rough Guide.
That's funny because when I was in school, they had the Glasgow Citizens Theatre Company, and everyone at the drama school were like, oh, you don't want to fucking Glasgow. It's rough. And then my good friend David O'Hara, from Glasgow, and David, I love him to death. You can never understand a word he says, because his
imagine that.
Oh, his accent is like 5 times Joe. It's like David O'Hara. And it's funny because when we were doing Departed, Scorsese he talked to us all, and O'Hara would say something, and Scorsese would go, "What did he say? Somebody help me! Like, what did you just say?" And but the most magical moment I had in Edinburgh, we were doing Miss Julie in the festival, and I'm playing the character Jean, who's really like the liveryman for the count that you never see, and I always come downstairs into the kitchen. I get my meals at the kitchen table, not at the dining table, obviously, and Miss Julie, of course, is like the daughter of the count who's upstairs, and then there's the maid who's like serving me food, and I'm waxing because I'm liveryman. I'm high above, and I'm waxing lyrical about all the places I've been, I've traveled to, and I recount how I went to Lucerne in Switzerland and met the Duke, and we had cognac together and whatever else, and so I'm in Edinburgh on Regency Row, right? Joe?
Yeah.
Roughly, yeah.
It's a whole bunch of Regency homes where like really well-heeled people had homes. So we were in the basement of this home, and I went out for a run one morning, and there was a stream running behind this row of houses, and I'm running, just bouncing around, and I suddenly see this little gold glint, and I pick it up. It was partially in water. It was like, it was like a little bell that you would put on a chain.
Yeah. And
the bell was crushed, and it said on it, Lucerne. I swear to you.
No.
And why that was significant is because throughout the play, suddenly, bing, 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 the bell downstairs would come from upstairs. I was being summoned. And literally, when the bell happened, this character would go from being this man of the world to, I got to go, because he's on call. So the bell being crushed was really significant. But I was totally spooked. I was totally spooked.
Wow.
I kept that piece. And then, of course, we finished the show, and we all had a big party, and we were up all night. And then the director said, who was from Scotland, she said, "Listen, we're going to go for a walk, and then we're going to go have breakfast." And we were like, perfect. We have to stop drinking anyway. But before we go, I rolled the largest joint I've ever rolled in my life. It was like a foot long joint. It must have taken about 50 different skins and
Wow.
all the hashish that we had and rolled it up. It was about this fat.
Oh my gosh.
And I carried this thing and we went for a walk up and around to King Arthur's Seat.
Oh.
So, are you with me?
Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You've been to the top of King Arthur's Seat? Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking, man.
No.
So we went all the way to the top of the seat. And the great thing about the seat in the morning, because mind you, we're doing this like 4:30 in the morning before the sun came up. But as the sun comes up, it casts a shadow over Edinburgh. Yeah. And then as it gets higher and higher, you can watch the shadow recede. It's extraordinary.
Wow.
And so we sat on this hill, and it was the most unwieldy joint. Like, oh,
Two
don't
hands,
cherry fall, you'll start a fire or you'll burn your face. And we all got totally zonked watching this shadow come forward and recede, and then walk down the hill, had the best breakfast. Oh, I love this city. I love it. In fact, I went to do the festival with my son 3 years ago, pre-pandemic. And we just had the best 5 days. Like, it was like best thing for a father and son to do. We would
absolutely.
I saw like 5 shows, ended with a comedy show, then coming home, like the pubs are still open at like 1:30. And my son, he was game. He's like, Dad, let's go have another beer. So we're sitting there having beer at almost 2 a.m. and the food. I've told my wife, because she's never been, so we're going to plan a trip specifically to go to the festival and just hang, and then maybe I'll come down your way, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. But I feel while these are really good stories that you're telling us, I feel that you're trying to deflect and get away from the quiz. Because everybody that we interview, we give the same quiz to. And now, say again?
It's exactly the same?
Yeah. Oh.
Kinda. They're general Scottish questions. There's no movie trivia or Star Trek questions like what deck is 10 forward on. Nothing like that. That's an easy one. That's deck 10. Obviously, that's why it's named 10 forward.
Forward.
Yeah. So, question 1, if you're ready. What is the national animal of Scotland? The national animal.
The hedgehog.
It's the unicorn.
That could have been Ireland's.
Could be. No, we've got the unicorn. Like Wales has the dragon. I don't know why we have made up animals.
And
they don't.
England has the lion, right?
Yes, they do indeed. Yeah. Question 2.
Is that actually on your flag?
No, the Scot. Well, we have to wait. There's a question about that later. So yeah, stop trying to preempt the questions. What is the name of Scotland's patron saint? Like religious saint, like Saint. Like Wales has Saint David, and England has Saint George. Scotland has Saint
Haggis.
Don't know if I should be offended by that. No, it's Saint.
I like it.
Oh, haggis is amazing. Yeah, you can sometimes catch them. No, but they'll only get 3 legs, so they don't run very fast. Yeah. It's Saint Andrew. Sorry,
Andrew.
You're 0-for-2.
I don't do well.
That's okay. That's okay.
Carry on. If you're getting some pleasure out of this, Joe, just carry on.
I am. Yeah, I am. You realised. Okay, you'll get this one. Which sport was invented in Scotland?
Golf.
Yes.
Yay.
Well done. Okay, question 4. Which colours are on the Scottish flag?
Red.
No.
Shit, brown.
Oh. Come on. What the other two
blue.
most?
I don't know.
Blue.
Yes.
Yeah, blue.
Oh, that's right. It's blue. That's right. Yeah,
and blue and white. Yeah. And do you know? Yeah.
Now something came to my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you that. Don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know the name of the?
Begrudgingly gave me that.
Kind of, yeah. You can have a half a point.
Stingy.
What is it? You don't know the name of the Scottish flag, do you? It's got a name. You don't know. Okay, it's correct. It's the saltire.
Oh yeah.
That's another. I'm giving you that point as well. I'm giving you 2 points for question 6 because you preempted the question with the name of the famous festival that takes place in August every year in Edinburgh. And that's the Edinburgh Festival, so you get 2 points for that. Do you know the name of the breed of cattle found in the Scottish Highlands?
Angus. No.
I'm going to give you that. Yeah, okay. Highland cow or
Highland.
Angus. Yeah. Okay, good. You got another 5 points for that one.
Wounded, right? They're very
Very woolly. Yes. Well,
I'm listening to these points and I'm just like, oh, this is. I'm glad Joe's not teaching math.
Amy, I'm the quiz master.
Okay.
I get to give the points out. Yeah.
It's Scottish math.
Exactly. Do you know the population of Scotland currently, roughly to the nearest 500,000?
So I'd say perhaps 8 million.
Oh, 5.5. Okay, so I was going to give you 10 points, but I'm going to deduct 2.5 points because you were 2.5 million out. So, yeah, you get some points for that. Is Scotland bigger or smaller than Belgium?
Bigger.
Yes, it's about twice as big. And last question, do you know the name of our current First Minister? Like Joe Biden's the US President, Boris Johnson's the UK Prime Minister, and who is the First Minister of Scotland?
Isn't it a woman?
It is a woman, yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, a point for that.
Hey. I don't, but I do know that it's a woman.
Correct, yes. Nicola Sturgeon, her name is. Well done. After those 10 questions, you got 73 points. Well done.
Wow, Mark.
I don't know either.
Fancy.
That's amazing. Whoa, well done.
Yeah, thanks. So I mean, look,
you were right.
But it is. I've never been. I'm not a gamer. I've never had this facility. Like my son, but my son. Oh, he's crazy good. Like in his local pub, like he's like the trivia champion.
Wow.
In fact, he went to the finals. Joe, you would know the Countdown. You know the show Countdown?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my son went all the way to the finals. And when he was going to the finals, I said, so, like, wow, that's exciting. What do you win? And he went, well, no, you win a teapot. I was like, oh, that's so British. Oh.
I know.
It's so like British. So, Joe, is he honorary Scottish citizen? Have you deemed him?
Yeah, I knight thee, Sir Mark of Auchtermuchty. Yeah, why not? Because I have that power, apparently. Self-appointed power.
Yes.
But Mark, if you're over my neck of the woods, definitely let us know, and we can go to a wee whiskey place and have some whiskey.
Inviting myself along.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, it's going to be, it's on our future list of things because I've told my wife just so many tales about Edinburgh and how much fun my son and I had that she's convinced that we need to go, and we will, and we'd love to see you all again. And thanks for listening to Old Man Waffle. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, it was a complete honor, and thank you for sharing your insights. And I loved learning about how you go about acting and the philosophy that you have. And I enjoyed also seeing your perspective on just the movie industry as a whole. Very interesting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope it wasn't too dark.
Oh, no.
Not at all.
Good. Yeah, it was a whole lot of fun, and we'll meet again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes, we will when that bottle of grappa that I got coming my way.
You got to watch a movie first.
Yeah, you do. Mark, do you know what? See, before the interview, because we're we're just normal human beings that have normal jobs, and we sometimes get to interview famous people that have been on Star Trek. So we're always a tiny bit nervous that that we're going to mess it up and offend somebody in some way, and a little bit more so today because your characters are all a bit scary in some way, or I'm not going to use the other C word that we've used throughout the interview. But there's sometimes an expectation that the actor might be the same as the character, and you've just been entirely genuine and a superhuman being. So thank you so much for coming on today.
That's the one reason my wife said that she married me, because it was my first and only blind date of my life, right? Oh. And the person who hooked it up was Jeanette Goldstein, who played Vasquez. And Jeanette just said, look, I think you'll like him. He's an actor, but I think you'll like him. And after our first date, my wife said, wow, you're different. You're the most unactory person I've ever met. Oh. And she still says that today, to this day. It's like, it's the only reason she stuck with me all these years, because if I was an actor, she probably would have castrated me a while back. So but that for me, it was like always my mentor, who was a man called Anton Rogers, who was a pretty well-known television theater actor. He always said to me, he's like, you know what, just do me one favor. He said, never be a diva, never have any, you always have an open mind to people, different situations, because in our business, you can't afford to be prejudiced in any way. And look at that guy. I was a bitch. But I never wanted to take on those things because I think that especially when you're dealing with fans, right? And whether it's Star Trek or whatever, it's like, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So I think that comporting oneself in a genuine fashion is the way to go.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll say goodbye. Hey guys, have great holidays.
Thank you. You too.
Look forward to seeing you again soon. And Rhea, when you lose the bet, anything you want to send my way, hon.
There you go.
You like apple pie?
Oh, I love apple.
Homemade?
Of course.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Or a bottle of Rocky.
Incoming transmission.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show and hope you'll join the Facebook group Federation Council Chambers. You're welcome to start conversations with us or add any general Star Trek info you want to share with the group.
If you'd like to send us an email, you can email us directly at galaxyclass@ufp.earth, and we will read your email on the show. You can also follow us on Twitter @GalaxyClassPod.
Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review. That helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcasts with our master feed by searching United Federation of Podcasts. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows like All Good Things, Franchise Fatigue, Always Hold On to Arrow, History with the Szilagys, Mickey's Marvels, Sasquatch, and Infinite Diversity. So Amy, where can people find you when you're not hanging out on the strip in a wee back alley being all creepy?
Oh my gosh. Well, when I'm not doing that. Gross. And yes, listeners, there are creeps on Fremont Street, just saying. But really, it's not going to be me, I promise. Mm-hmm. You can find me here on the network hosting All Good Things with Mark White, my new co-host, yes. And I am also on Union Federation talking all things new Star Trek and waiting for the Orville to return next year. I am on Twitter @Miss Amy Nelson, and of course in our Facebook group in the Federation Council Chambers. And Rhea, where can people find you when you will soon be watching Shawshank Redemption?
Well, you'll find me making a quick trip to the library to check it out, unless I can find it streaming. Then you'll find me, I'd say on my couch, but realistically, I will be cleaning the kitchen because I have family coming to visit, and my house is a disaster. But otherwise, you can find me on the Federation Council chambers, occasionally posting funny Star Trek memes that other people have created, and I'm just trying to spread the joy. And Joe, where can people find you when you are smoking a big fat doobie in the streets of Edinburgh?
Well, as a teacher, yeah, I do not do that.
When you're not smoking a big fat doobie.
Yeah, and when I'm still not doing that, because I quite like my job, you can find me on the Federation Council Chambers. You can tweet me on the Twitter at JoeyJoe77UK, or you can email me joepodcasts@gmail.com.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
If you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/UFPearth to get all the details. A huge shout out to David Willett, our very own show supporter. Thank you so much.
We would also like to recognize our executive producers, Brandon Shea Mutella, Ken Tripp, Zach Moore, and Tony Robinson. We'd also like to thank Zach Tripp for our opening and closing music, and for Tony Robinson for amazing artwork.
Thank you for beaming aboard the Galaxy class, and until next time...
Hey, Hicks. Man, you look just like I feel.
Great joy and gratitude.
Well, you know what they say, Mr. Worf. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Stay classy, Galaxy.
Engage.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.